Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Anna and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's been going on with my health. Recently, I had some pretty standard blood work done. Just to give you like a little bit of a background, my family on my mom's side, all of the women have a bit of a thyroid issue, whether it's an underactive thyroid or sometimes they've had like little nodules or stuff on it. So it's always been kind of in the back of my mind. So I went to the doctors, and a lovely doctor, a new doctor, and she said, yeah, let's like run a panel and see kind of what's going on. So she ran a full thyroid panel, and come to find out there actually was something up. She had given me a call and she said, hey, listen, your TPO, your thyroid antibodies, are pretty elevated. And that can mean a couple of things, and I'm probably leaning more towards Hashimoto's. Now, if you haven't heard this before, I didn't really either. I had heard a while back somebody had it, but didn't really think anything of it. So it kind of got my brain like flying and going. And if you know anything about like Clara I, you know that we are like the research queens. So as soon as we heard Hashimoto's, we looked up how to spell it and kind of like off we went. And the thing about Hashimoto's is a lot of the doctors that I was speaking to weren't really giving me like a definite yes you have it or no you don't. So my doctor said, I'm going to give you a referral to an endocrinologist. That's their specialty, right? The thyroid is kind of their jam. And so I gave this doctor a call, and essentially the doctor left me a voicemail or spoke to me on the phone, and I can't really remember like which one it was, but essentially he said, well, yeah, sorry, your thyroid levels are actually functioning perfectly. Call me when your thyroid's bust. And so I was just like, wow, okay. Left me with just like a really big question mark. Because from what the other doctor was saying and all the things that Claire and I have been reading on the internet, it is something we need to be concerned about and not just something that needs to be brushed under the rug, which is a main reason why I'm kind of doing this video today, is to kind of give you all of the information that I've learned this far. It's been about 2 weeks in, a week and a half in. So yeah, where to go from there? So I kind of regrouped a minute, trying not to kind of like hyper focus on it, and making small little shifts about the things that I could change right now. So here is some of the stuff that I did immediately. After doing some research, found out that basically Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease, and I didn't really know too much about autoimmune disease, only that your body is essentially kind of attacking itself. And your body is in almost kind of like a constant state of inflammation. Doesn't sound super fun. And I didn't even really understand that the symptoms that I have had for years were actually due to the Hashimoto's and not due to just like this being my body. I kind of just chalked it up to, maybe I'm getting older, or this is just how I am. I kind of just run a bit slower and get a bit more tired than like everybody else. I don't know. So some of the symptoms that I was experiencing and other symptoms that I actually read up about that I didn't even really know were symptoms were this. Super fatigued all the time, even sleeping, 8-9 hours a night, I would wake up and feel exhausted. Muscle weakness, joint pain. Sometimes people have GI issues. I didn't really have any GI issues. I know certain foods made, my body like not feel so great, so I would just kind of avoid them, but I just thought maybe that was just my body. Some other things were brittle nails, hair thinning, and like brittle hair. Now, hair thinning isn't a problem for me, but definitely I noticed the texture of my hair has been changing. I just kind of chalked it up to getting older. I didn't really think too much of it, but that was also a thing. A low sex drive can also happen. A low mood, depression, any kind of like mood disturbance can be also linked to Hashimoto's. a bit of brain fog or a lot of brain fog. That happens quite often for me, where I just feel like I'm present, but I'm kind of somewhere else as well. So I have to work really, really hard to stay in the moment all the time. So simple things that we kind of maybe take for granted, a person with Hashimoto's or an autoimmune disease is working really, really, really hard to do just those like simple kind of life functions that you don't even think about. So at the end of a day, I was completely exhausted. Some of the quick changes that I made, because I wasn't really getting a ton of information from any of the doctors that we talked to, just a like kind of vague, yeah, I think you have Hashimoto's, left me a little confused. So Claire and I, like I said, we did a ton of research, and here were some of the changes that I made. Because Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease, I cut out some basically two main food groups for me. Bread and any form of gluten and dairy. Now, I am a massive bread and cheese fan, and we just happen to live in a part of the United States that pretty much makes the best pizza in the country. Yes, I know, I said it, it's true. We live near New Haven, Connecticut, and they have some of the best pizza, I'm gonna even say maybe on the planet. So I just like love everything cheese, bread, I'm all over it. And I thought I was gonna have like a really hard time with it, but it was actually okay. I was able to find some substitutes, and I pretty much eat kind of like fairly healthy to begin with, so it wasn't too much drama. Now, it was also after the holiday season, and that's kind of when you're going to a lot of holiday parties, and there's cheese spreads and, you know, cookies and all of that like stuff. Talk to me at the end of the year, and maybe I'll do like a little bit of an update and tell you how I've been doing. So those two things I cut out immediately. I did notice that some of my brain fog went away, some of my joint pain, and as well, some of just my like overall kind of like body fatigue started to improve. So I had to take control, because doctors in the area, or I don't even know if it's just the area or just in general, weren't really giving me any solutions. So I just needed to take control over it myself. So I was able to find a naturopath that was in the same area as me, and he's just like a lovely man. I went to go see him, and he was able to give me a ton of information, and also just a really caring and listening ear, and bounced ideas off of, and he listened to what I had researched and wanted to know what I knew about it before he started like flooding me with information, which I just thought was like such a like positive way to meet with somebody that has this new kind of diagnosis, because it can be kind of overwhelming. Without even realizing it, this naturopath actually totally focuses on autoimmune disease and inflammation in the body. So for me, it was just kind of like divine guidance, or whatever you want to say, like the universe shifting me into the right direction. He's super lovely, and that's his jam, and I was super cool and pumped to hear that it was. So what he told me, a couple things that he wanted to add into my diet and also remove from my diet. All grains, quinoa, barley, rice, any pastas, but that was gluten as well. I'm probably forgetting a ton, but essentially get rid of it. So I said, sure, doc, no problem. Got rid of it. He also wanted me to get rid of nightshade vegetables, tomatoes, eggplants, garlic, peppers, any kind of like spicy peppers as well. And that was kind of a bummer for me, because I am a big fan of shishito peppers. But I had to get rid of them. So here we are. The other things that he wanted me to cut out of my diet, which I just happen to do as well anyways. When I cut out gluten, dairy, I also cut out everything soy. Anything kind of in the Asian flavor range, I just like essentially cut out of my diet. As well as I never drank soy milk to begin with, but edamame, tofu, anything like that, cut, gone, bye. What he did then want to add was one supplement and one nut for its benefits in lowering the antibodies and taking the body out of its inflammatory kind of reaction phase and kind of allow my bodies to start healing itself, because essentially my body is freaking out right now. So 2 things that he asked me to add into my diet were Brazil nuts. He said to eat 2 to 3 Brazil nuts a day because they have a natural form of selenium in them, and selenium is the thing that your body needs to lower your TPO. He also recommended that I get just a supplement of selenium as well, and take 400 milligrams of selenium per day, morning, noon, or night. It doesn't really matter. They smell and taste like a hot trash can, but I'm trying my best. So that's where I'm up to right now in this whole lifestyle change for me right now. Right now, our focus, Claire and I's focus, and my own focus is getting this under control and getting my body functioning as best as it can. If this video was interesting to you, please subscribe, hit the button below. I will link all of the things that I just talked about, the selenium, the Brazil nuts, and if you're having any of these symptoms, please, please, please take your own wellness and your body in your own hands and talk to your doctor and have them run a full thyroid panel, including your antibodies and TPO. That is the only way that you're going to find out if you have Hashimoto's. Thanks so much for listening. And if you have any questions, please, please, please comment below and I will get back to you as soon as possible and possibly even make a few more of these videos. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.